And welcome back to my channel, unless you're new here, and then just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And welcome back to my boutique spotlight for Scream and Shout Factory. This is part 2. As I said in the original video, I think that they've been around the longest as far as being, well, there's nobody like them. A lot of the better, less predatory boutiques are copying them, which is good, copying their business practices. So they seem to be the best, and that's why I have the most of their stuff. I love their catalog. They choose a lot of really good movies to remaster, and that's a good thing. Yeah, so they're the largest collection of boutique that I have in my collection, which has now reached, let me check. I haven't checked in a while. Open up my DVD profiler. And I currently have 2,721 films. So that's 2,721 Blu-rays and DVDs. I am approaching the big 3,000. Sounds good. Needless to say, when the world goes down, I'm the one that'll be collecting all of the canned goods from people who are tired of watching the grass grow because they won't be able to access the internet and their little streaming services and their digital libraries, and, you know, they'll get tired of watching the 10 videos they have and the grass grows, so they'll be paying me Chef Boyardee and Little Debbie Snacks to please let me watch a movie, which I will display on the front porch with my solar generator. And, yeah, you know, good thing to have a physical collection is all I got to tell you. Prepare for the future. So, let's begin, and we have Army of Frankensteins, because of course we do. Because you don't really expect that they're going to name a movie Army of Frankensteins, and I'm not going to buy it. Because I just have to. But you know it's cute. Got it with the slipcase. It's one of those silly things. But that's okay. I like silly things. This is Ejecta. I heard it was very, weird. It's like a spacey movie, 2001. Very deep, very strange. Isn't Dee Wallace in it? I think so. But it's very weird. It's a weird movie, but it's also very thought-provoking. And we have Kathy Bates and James Caan in Misery. Oh Lord, what are you going to do with that sledgehammer? This is my second favorite movie of Kathy Bates. I know it's the number one for a lot of people, but for me, Dolores Claiborne just beats it out by a hair. And a sledgehammer. What does she use? She doesn't really use it. She uses a hole in the ground to murder and Dolores Claiborne. But she does, start to hit him in the head with an axe if he dares touch her again. She puts that jar of milk upside his head. But yeah, so Dolores Claiborne is my number one Kathy Bates movie, but Misery is a very close second. I absolutely love it, so I'm very glad to have their remaster of it. This is my favorite Exorcist movie. Number 2, of course, is Laughable Junk. The first one is fine. I don't have any problem with the original Exorcist. I think it's a great movie, but it did take me 25 years before I bought a copy on Blu-ray of it. But this has always been my thing. This is a great release. It comes with the director's cut as well, and the theatrical cut. So I think it is the best Exorcist movie. I absolutely adore it. and that is The Exorcist 3. This is Katie Sackhoff in Don't Knock Twice. She's in Riddick. She played Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica. And unfortunately for her, she is in one of the top 10 movies of worst movies of all time, and that's Halloween Resurrection, which, you know, if I was like a really rich billionaire or something, I'd buy like 1,000 copies of that movie just to burn them in the backyard. That's how much I hate that movie. But yes, I love this movie. She's very good in this movie. It's very scary too. I like it. And this is Galaxy of Terror. Little Erin Moran from Happy Days and Joni Loves Chachi. This movie scared me very much when the first time I saw it. I was probably a teen, and the first time I saw it, it like freaked me out. I don't even want to know what that worm was doing to that girl, but that freaked me out. It also has Robert Englund in it. So yeah, I love Roger Corman's Galaxy of Terror. My two favorite Roger Corman movies are this and Bloody Mama. This is Farrah Fawcett and Kirk Douglas, if you can believe it. But this is a sci-fi horror movie called Saturn III. I absolutely love it. Very cool movie. The fantastic Farrah Fawcett. This is my favorite movie of hers, along with Logan's Run and Extremities and The Burning Bed. Farrah Fawcett was really a really great actress, very underrated. This is one of the prized possessions of my collection, and that is Morgan Fairchild and Andrew Stevens in The Seduction. It has the honor of being the first Stalker movie, Celebrity Stalker. It brought that issue to light. It is not a true story, but it is based, the idea is based on a true story about a news anchor who was stalked and threatened and attempted murdered in Los Angeles. So it was based off a true event, of course, but it's completely different. But Morgan Fairchild in The Seduction, a prized possession in my collection. Boy, did that cost me. And moving on. This tops the top 10 of the top 10 scariest movies of all time to me. You know, you can ask a film collector and a horror buff what is the movie that scared them the most. They will try to tell you why. Oh, atmosphere, the cast, the kills, the subject matter, whatever it is. But I've never really heard a satisfactory answer from anyone, and you won't hear one from me either, because I can't tell you. I just know that this movie scared the absolute hell out of me. It is strange, but for a horror movie buff, the top 10 movies that scared you the most and your top 10 horror movies are often very different. I absolutely love this movie, but it isn't my top horror movie of all time. That's Friday the 13th Part 2. But this is the movie that scared me the most, so it's number one on that list. So, I don't know, I should do both of those lists one day. But yes, Fear No Evil is just absolutely terrifying to me. It scared me absolutely to death, like nightmare fuel. This is the Hammer horror film, Straight On Till Morning. It was a departure from their usual type of horror, and it's actually my favorite. Straight On Till Morning, of course, is a take on Peter Pan. This is a psychological serial killer thriller and Silence of the Lambs type, and it is very, very good. It's from the 70s, and I absolutely love it. Another prized possession of my collection, Orca, the Killer Whale. This is my number 2 ocean horror, water-based horror, behind Jaws. Jaws is number 1, Orca is number 2. Piranha, the original Piranha, would be number 3. Probably. Oh no. The Shark movie. Wow. Okay, I've lost my mind. I can't think of it. But Orca the Killer Whale, yes, definitely one of my favorite, or number 2 on my top 10 water horror. This is that release that I was telling you about. This is probably the most pathetic release that I ever saw from Scream Factory. It was very shocking to me when I got it. It is absolutely nothing. It's The Fog and The Howling on the same disc. So I was like, what? Is this really Scream Factory? You know, it was very strange. So I ended up getting them separately, because I don't know. I have a thing about that. Multiple movies on one disc. So I really didn't know. And you can get this for like $5 on Hamilton Books. Night of the Demons, the collector's edition. Very glad to finally get that in the collection after people ragged on me so much to get it. Deep Blue Sea. Did you realize I was still trying to come up with that? But yeah, Deep Blue Sea, that's number 4 in my water horror. I knew it would come to me if I just stopped thinking about it and left it alone. But Night of the Demons, I'm very glad to finally get that into my collection. We'll have to see about getting the others. This is an anthology called Ghost Stories, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you really should. It is Scream Factory and IFC, so yes, Ghost Stories. Trespassers, Scream. I think this is a great little movie. It reminded me of like Disturbing Behavior and The Lesson and, films like that. I really liked it. Kind of reminded me of The Strangers too. It's the autopsy of Jane on the floor. It's the autopsy of Jane Doe. The covers always freaked me out. It's right side up when it's upside down. I think the only other movie I've seen like that, poster like that, is Killing of a Sacred Deer. That movie is like hard to look at too. If you do it that way, it's like the words are upside down. But yes, the autopsy of Jane Doe, very cool. This, of course, 8mm, another icon in my collection. I absolutely love this film. Joaquin Phoenix when he was just a baby, and Nicolas Cage, who's always looked like kind of the same since he did Valley Girl. After he left Valley Girl, he immediately looked like he looks today. It's very strange. But yes, maybe he was cloned or something. I don't know. But 8mm is one of the best action, crime, screw-up thrillers I've ever seen in my life. This is Pyewacket. I was told about this, told I should get it. It is a Scream Factory. So I'm like, okay. I liked the trailer. I liked the synopsis. And speaking of Valley Girl, there we have it. Deborah Foreman and Nicolas Cage in the original Valley Girl. She's cool. He's hot. She's from the Valley. He's not. Nope, he was from West Hollywood. And she was from Silicon Valley. What's weird about it is that they made the guy look just like Nicolas Cage. But that looks absolutely nothing like Deborah Foreman, and she did not dress like that. Whereas he did dress like that. I don't know, it's very strange. She did not dress like that. That looks nothing like her. He did dress like that in the movie, and it looks just like him. So I don't know how they did that. That's really weird. I wonder why they did it that way. Anyway, this is a Shout Select. So Shout Factory. Very, very fantastic. And the final stack, we have Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis in California. Brad Pitt is like a horrific serial killer in this movie. I absolutely love California. David Duchovny, fantastic. This is a Shout Select as well. So glad to have this movie. California, all the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Definitely in my top 10 slashers of all time. Billy. I'm not going to even talk to you about Billy, because you know what I've got to say about Billy. If I had to be killed by anybody, I'd want it to be Billy. I think I could talk him out of it, though. This is a Russian horror movie that I really like. Russia is kind of like Australia. Australia does it more often, but when Australia hits with their horror. I like Aussie horror. When Russia hits. They just don't hit quite as often. But Sputnik is a fantastic Russian horror movie, sort of like Alien. It is definitely, if you've never heard of it, you should go and look at the trailer and check it out, because this is an absolutely one of those underrated gems that you've not heard of. Dead Shadows for my zombie collection. Scream Factory. You can never have too many zombies. Rabid Dogs. This is actually a remake of the original one, and I absolutely love this movie. It is very, very tense. Yes. Rabid Dogs. Killing Ground. I like this as well. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is Australian. This is an Australian horror movie. A white knuckle thriller. A straight up stripped down suspenser. Killing Ground. It's I don't know, I guess you would put it in the same kind of realm as I did it again. This is Dead Souls. Don't Go Home. This is really good. This is a really good movie. If you happen to see it somewhere and can get your hands on it, you should check it out. Another icon in my collection. This is Ghost Story. Starring the Porg Queen herself, Alice Krieg. Oh, we're going to do that, are we? That's the more familiar poster that I was familiar with. This has got Fred Astaire, Melvin Douglas, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., John Houseman, Craig Wasson, Patricia Neal. So you have some really interesting, cast for a very, very scary horror movie. Because, Fred Astaire, right? You kind of like Fred Astaire? Really? In a horror movie? And not just a horror movie, but a very, very scary horror movie. Ghost Story is just fantastic. And Craig Wasson is wonderful in it. This is The Nightingale. It, of course, has a lot of rave reviews. A lot of people love it. This is the Scream Factory remaster of it. So, yes. One of the best horror movies in my top 10. We've almost got my entire top 10 in these two Scream Factory videos, don't we? This is one of my top 10 slashers of all time. That's not really a slasher because it was all fake. But this is April Fool's Day. I like the new artwork. That looks really cool. It, of course, has the original artwork that all of us horror fans were used to seeing. But I do like this new artwork. It looks really cool. The little Barbie dolls. I think that's neat. This is Ravenous, which will gross you the fuck out. If you are not into cannibalism, I would stay away from Ravenous. But this movie is like hell on wheels, you know what I'm saying? It is a very, very scary, tense, gross movie. It's like Bone Tomahawk, you know, the Kurt Russell one. It's these two movies, Bone Tomahawk and Ravenous, go perfectly together. They are the exact same kind of horror. But yeah, Ravenous, Bone Tomahawk. Do I have Bone Tomahawk? If I don't have Bone Tomahawk, I've got to remember to get Bone Tomahawk. But this is Alien Outpost. I actually really liked this. I saw it somewhere, and I thought that it sounded like it was going to be really boring, you know? It just all takes place in an outpost, and you deal with this unit of soldiers who are trying to fend off any stray aliens that come their way as they kind of like guard this way out of the way outpost while the world has been taken over by aliens. And yeah, I really liked it. It turned out to be extremely interesting. So yeah, and that does it for part 2. Yep. And that's it, folks. Unless I missed some sitting somewhere in my collection, that is all of my Scream and Shout Factory. Do you have any of these? Do you want any of these? Do you love any of these? I really like Scream Factory. I really like Shout Factory. I think that they are the pinnacle right now of boutiques, film boutiques. As far as their marketing goes, their care for the film, Scream Factory and Shout Factory really do seem to care about their films. They're not just trying to fuck people over and get all of their money and make you pay $60 for a Blu-ray. They seem to want to save, remaster, and permeate as many films as they can, you know, get the rights to. And I think that their mission statement of saving physical media and saving these films from being just lost in some streaming service that goes belly up and the art is gone forever, except for some people who downloaded it and share it on torrents and burn their own discs. It's really, you know, aside from bootleggers, what can you do? You know, so I really like Scream and Shout Factory because of the way they seem to care so much about preserving these works of art for us all, because you never know what can happen. I know that I make a joke about the apocalypse, but stranger things have happened. So I did mean it for real when I said that if it all goes down, I will have something to do. Because as you heard, I had 2,721 movies. So I will at least have something to bargain with. Everybody gets tired of seeing the grass grow and trying to find water that is not contaminated and trying to find rabbits to eat. I don't know what people else will do during the apocalypse, but I will be watching Valley Girl. So I will see you all in the next thing. Love you, miss you, bye. Always remember and never forget, you're a very, very special person. And I will see you in the next thing I do. Don't let anyone ever tell you differently either. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think about any of these movies. If you saw something from Scream that you don't think I know about, let me know, because I will certainly look it up and buy it for my very own. And if you have a Scream Factory list collection video of your own, let me know. I'd like to see it. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.